In the waters of the Strait of Hormuz, 3 commercial ships were hit by projectiles on Tuesday. One of them, a large liquefied natural gas carrier flying the flag of Qatar, caught fire in the engine room after being hit by an Iranian drone. 2 other oil tankers, one of them Saudi, also sustained damage. No crew members died, but the vessels continued their journey under escort. The United Kingdom and the U.S. Central Command directly pointed to Iranian actions. In immediate response, American forces launched a series of air and missile strikes against Iranian targets. More than 60 small vessels of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps were destroyed or damaged. Air defense systems, coastal radars, anti-ship missile launch sites, and drone facilities were also hit at locations in Hormozgan province, including areas near Bandar Abbas, Kashan, and Sirik. The stated goal was to impose heavy costs for aggression against merchant ships in international waters. Hours later, Iran responded. It launched a series of ballistic missiles and drones targeting the headquarters of the U.S. Fifth Fleet in Bandar Salman, Bahrain, and the Ali Al Salem Air Base in Kuwait. Sirens sounded and air raids were reported in both Gulf capitals. The air defenses of Kuwait and Bahrain were activated. Iran even claimed to have shot down an American MQ-9 Reaper reconnaissance drone that was trying to interfere with the operation. Explosions were reported in Iranian territory, including at commercial piers in Sirik, where civilians were injured by shrapnel. No civilian deaths have been reported on the Iranian side so far. In the face of this cycle of retaliations, President Donald Trump was direct and public during the NATO summit in Turkey. He said the interim memorandum of understanding with Iran, signed in mid-June to end hostilities, has ended. He added, "For me, it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. Sick people led by other sick people."
Que acabou. Não quero mais lidar com eles.
The agreement, which Trump considered terminated, had been signed just a few weeks earlier, after months of open conflict that began with American and Israeli airstrikes on Iran on February 28. The memorandum called for an immediate ceasefire on all fronts, including Lebanon, and the gradual withdrawal of the American naval blockade, the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz to commercial traffic without toll charges for 60 days, and the start of negotiations for a final agreement within 60 days. The central premise was to restore freedom of navigation and prevent further escalation. The attacks on the 3 commercial ships were interpreted by the Americans as a clear violation of this understanding. U.S. Central Command classified the Iranian action as unjustified aggression, dangerous, and a direct violation of the ceasefire that put international navigation and civilian crews at risk. If you want access to full analyses and exclusive content that is not released to the public, become a channel member for only 7 Rs per month. At the same time, Washington revoked the license that allowed Iran to sell oil on the international market, a measure that contributed to the sharp increase in oil prices worldwide. On the Iranian side, the Joint Military Command, Qatan al-Anbiya, condemned the American bombings as a blatant act of aggression and promised a crushing response. Meanwhile, the president of the parliament, Mohammad Bakr Kalibaf, stated that the era of intimidation and extortion was over and that Iran would not bow down. Iranian sources claimed that the attacked ships ignored warnings and routes designated by the Tehran authorities. Militarily, the Strait of Hormuz remains the most sensitive point in the region. A significant portion of the oil and gas that supplies markets in Asia and Europe passes through it. Over decades, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard has developed an asymmetric doctrine based on fast boats and swarming tactics, naval mines, coastal, anti-ship missiles, and drones, all at once. These means are intended to deny access or impose high costs on superior naval forces. This time, the American attacks focused exactly on these assets: small Revolutionary Guard vessels, radars and coastal surveillance, and missile and drone launch sites. The practical goal was to degrade Iran's ability to threaten merchant shipping in the short term. The Iranian response with ballistic missiles and drones against American bases in Bahrain and Kuwait followed the pattern already seen in previous conflicts. Avoid direct confrontation with aircraft carriers or large naval units and strike land targets, fixed or semi-fixed, on the periphery of the Gulf, showing the country's low capacity for retaliation. Bahrain is home to the U.S. Fifth Fleet. Kuwait provided important logistical and air support facilities. The fact that the sirens went off and defenses were activated shows that the threat was taken seriously, even though initial reports indicate that most of the projectiles did not hit the main targets. The current situation is highly tense, with Trump declaring the memorandum terminated. There is, of course, no longer any diplomatic framework that, even if fragile, maintained some restraint in recent weeks. Iran has already signaled that it will take stricter measures against ships that do not comply with its navigation guidelines in the Strait, even in international waters. This opens the door for new incidents with commercial vessels at any moment. At the same time, the United States has demonstrated both the willingness and the capability to respond quickly with air power and precision missiles, maintaining a significant naval presence in the region. International reactions were in line with previous support for the American strikes, with NATO Secretary General Mark Huth describing the American actions as absolutely necessary to respond to the violation of the ceasefire caused by Iran. To find out what will happen in the next few hours, just become an exclusive member here on the channel to watch the full video for only 7 Rs and 99 cents per month. Just click here on the Become a Member button. Now I want to hear from you. Comment below which path you believe the parties will take in the next few hours. Your perspective helps enrich our discussion. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. Amen.